Hi.
Hey guys. So, I have a story to share now.
There we go.
So I was going to share a story today that happened this week. And it had to do, here's what I struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself a very kid person. I love kids.
She always has kids at her house.
I do always have kids at my house. I love having kids at my house. I love just making them feel welcome. I really want my house to feel welcome.
And she has the fun house. It's like when you're growing up and you always want to go to like the friend's house, the fun house. It's like she has the fun house. So they have all kinds of fun stuff. They have the pool. They have, have all
and we intentionally chose that. Like we said we want to have the fun house because we want to know where our kids are.
Yeah.
Right. But with that comes a lot of kids at your house, right?
Right.
Which I'm like, I love kids.
Yeah.
But that's not really true.
You get there and you're like, do I really think that? Yeah.
So I have to face that regularly.
Yeah.
And I don't like looking at that part of myself.
Sure.
So this week, I was really struggling. Okay, so we had, my middle had a bunch of girls over. And I was prepped for it. She asked, hey, can the girls come over? And I was like, yeah, totally. It'll be so fun. And I get ready. Like, I'm like, okay, I clean the house.
Yeah.
And then I can just kind of sit around and fix their lunch and, be on my computer, do whatever.
Right.
And they're
they're
playing.
entertained.
And that's good. And that's fine.
Yeah.
So they were doing that. I was ready for that. But then the neighbor kid came over to play with my son. And they were playing, and I noticed that he was like hanging around wanting to be a part of the girls. Now the neighborhood is a little more
boys, right?
Yeah, he's a boy. Yeah,
there's a lot of boys in the neighborhood.
There's a lot of boys in the neighborhood, right? And they're older than Jackson,
right?
So Jackson's 9, and this kid's like 11. Reagan's 12. So he's kind of closer to the girls' age. So I could see that he was like here to be next to the girls. Do you know what I mean?
It's girls. I mean, he's probably at the age now where he's just like, oh, girls,
So, and Jackson likes him, but
they're not great friends.
Right. He could do
they
without
just
him,
hang
whatever.
out.
Right. So he's here and he's here and he's here. And like, here's the part that I can't figure out why I struggle with this. So I was hoping that maybe you could help me process a little bit of the work.
Yeah.
Right. Like we talk about the work all the time.
Yeah.
And the work is really about understanding what triggers you.
Yeah.
And what thoughts you have about it and how you can kind of like turn it back to your own healing.
Right.
Right?
Right. Because it is about, like when we talked before about judge your neighbor, right? We always judging our neighbors.
This is like literally I'm judging my neighbor.
Yeah, right, I know. Well, I've done that before too, where I've literally judged my neighbor too, which is really kind of fun. But it's judging that other person because we're it's so easy to do that. I mean, we judge everybody else because we're perfect, they're not, whatever. Right. But really what it is when you do those turnarounds, it's really about us. So we're judging the neighbor because it's important to see what we're judging, but that turnaround is what's really for us. Yeah. And that turnaround is, I don't like whatever. You turn it around and say, I do like, and then you go, do I? Do I like? What is this I like or what is this I don't like? So it's always those turnarounds that are like the biggest lesson, the biggest part of the experience, the lesson, the what's the word I'm looking for?
The learning.
The lesson.
The lesson.
And that's where you do all that work.
Can you facilitate this for me?
Yes.
Okay.
I will try.
So he's here.
Yeah.
And I can feel myself getting a little irritated. Like I'm watching the process and he's like wanting to be with the girls and I can see that Jackson's like, hey, let's go over to your house and swim.
Yeah.
Or, and he's like, well, no, making excuses. And I'm just like, I see you. Like I see what you're doing here. This is an agenda. Whatever. So I had planned to get the girls pizza and wings. It's kind of like a fun little thing. So the kid's still hanging out. I did not order enough for another kid to be here. I mean, it was like just enough. Like an extra large pizza and you know.
And there's a lot of girls.
Wings.
I mean,
there was like 5 girls.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Plus my 2 other kids. So there's like 7 kids.
Right.
But was there enough? Probably. But I was telling
Yeah.
myself, there's not enough.
There's not enough.
There's one more person who's going to
Yeah.
put us over the edge.
Right.
So
right.
what is that? That's lack? Is that?
Well, yeah. So what is it you wanted in that situation? So I want
him to go eat at his house.
Okay. So I want him to go eat at his house. Is it true? What's the first?
The first thing
one
was,
is
no, I want to be welcoming.
Okay. So it's not true that you don't want him there. How do you feel when you believe the thought, I want him to go eat at his house?
Irritated.
Okay.
I can't control that.
Right.
I'm not going to say to him, go eat at your house.
Right. So that's an internal struggle that we have because we are feeling this, we're thinking this, and we're believing this. And he needs to go to his house.
And he needs to see it on his own.
And he needs to, because I'm not going to tell
Don't
him.
put me in the position
Right.
to be
I don't
want
to say that. Right. And he
not
doesn't,
welcoming.
she's not welcoming, whatever. So that's playing out. And so then how are you treating yourself and the other ones around you when
totally.
you're doing that?
Irritated.
Yes, right? Maybe jumping at the kid. Yeah, exactly.
Cold shoulder. Just not. Jackson was looking at me like,
Mom, what are you doing? Yeah, I don't know how to manage this, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like, are you mad at me?
Yeah.
And so we get the pizza.
Yeah.
So yeah, not acting well.
Okay.
Just kind of like,
right.
Again, our ways, passive aggressive. I want you to know I'm angry, but I'm not
Right.
going to use my words. Like I'm free.
Right. I know. It's so funny. It is funny when we
Like,
look at
to
it.
my
It's like, what are
kids.
we doing? I know.
To my kids.
I know. We do it. But that's just how we do it. That's how because we're believing this. We're
stupid.
thinking this and we're believing this. So this is how it's going to play
And
out.
I feel like I'm right.
Exactly.
Like I'm so in the moment of like,
right.
I'm right here.
Exactly.
And then also Jackson should know. Jason's time to go
He
home.
needs to go home. Yeah.
Just time
You're
to
like
yeah.
telepathy, like
Right.
looking at him being like,
Just doing the double
listen
blink.
to me. Like, can you hear my thoughts? I'm telling him to leave, right? And the whole time he's looking
All
at
of
you
it.
like, well, I don't know what you're saying. What
It's
do you
so
do?
confusing. And I'm like, how could it be more obvious? So
funny.
stupid. Okay, so
So anyways, you
pizza
order the
comes,
pizza. Yeah.
and Jason's here.
Yeah.
He's been hanging around, just like fiddling around in our house, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm not that hungry. I tell the girls, God, everybody, pizza's here.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm not that hungry. And I was like, well, okay, like maybe he's,
maybe he's
whatever.
trying to figure
also,
out too,
his
like
house
what
is
you're
2 doors down,
Yeah.
so like, why don't you go eat at your own house?
Right.
But stay here because I'm nice and warm.
Yeah.
And welcoming.
Right.
So confusing, right?
Yeah.
So then I later come out and Taylor comes to me and is like, Jace ate 3 pieces of pizza.
Oh boy.
And I was like, this is just what I was
This is
afraid
exactly
of.
what I didn't want.
Like,
right.
I knew there were like 24 pieces,
Right.
you know,
Enough
like,
for all
or like 20
everybody or
pieces,
whatever.
whatever. So
Yeah.
I had kind of like calculated in my brain, control, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is perfect. This
Yeah.
is perfect.
Right.
What? You're going to throw a wrench
You
in
throw
this?
the wrench in it. What does this mean for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, and while I was going through this, I was also saying to myself, so I was having this internal battle.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Which then came out confusing to
Right,
my kids,
right.
right? Like the internal battle was, stop.
Yeah.
You have so much food in your house. Who
There's
cares?
plenty. Right.
You have ice cream cups and
Right.
watermelon
Right.
and just tons of food.
Interesting.
Other pizzas in the freezer.
Right.
Like, and I was thinking this to myself.
Right.
But it didn't go how I planned it.
Right. Yeah.
And that's really what
That's
I
the
was
frustrating
mad at.
part,
And
yeah.
then I was mad at him for
Right.
putting me in this position.
Exactly. When all along you knew you had enough, but it was not how you saw it playing out. So the turnaround could be, what's the opposite of that? I don't want him to go to his house. So sit with that, and is it true?
Okay, here's what I really struggle with.
Okay.
I only like certain kids.
Okay. Is it true?
Yes.
Okay. Can you absolutely know that's true, that you only like certain kids?
No.
Okay.
No.
And when you believe that thought, how do you feel? What do you do?
I don't like myself.
Okay.
And then I'm just kind of like judgy.
Yeah.
And judgy.
Mm-hmm. And that's that judge your neighbor, right? Because you're
Yes.
judging it. You're judging your thoughts about it. You're thinking you're wrong to have those feelings and those thoughts, even though you have them. So then you have to go in and go, okay, what is it that I'm judging about this? You're right. You know, that's that meditative part of it. That other question that's on the work is, who would you be without that thought? How would you treat others? How would you treat yourself? Sitting in that moment thinking, I want him to go to his house and eat food there. Who would you be without that thought? And he's just here. He's eating the food. He's hanging out with the kids. What comes up for you?
Yeah. So what comes up for me is I think of myself as a generous person who's always like, oh, the more the merrier. I literally say that all the time. Yes, everyone's welcome. But that's
Except
not
that
true.
one kid threw a wrench in that, and then
If
it's
true
planned, with it? Yeah.
If I'm prepared.
There you go. If it's planned, more the merrier. If it's not planned, no. So what's that?
Right.
Yeah.
Control. Right? If I can present myself in a certain way,
people will like me.
yeah.
They'll want to come over. The more the merrier. I'm free. I'm fun. I'm this. I'm that. Like, I want to present myself as this.
Right. But if
But
you
all along,
catch me off guard,
I'm not that person.
I'm withheld. I don't have enough. I'm lacking. Ooh.
Ooh, I know.
It just
It's
gives
hard.
me
It's
chills
so hard.
to think about, because that's the reality. It's like, why couldn't I just breathe into like,
Yeah.
sure,
It's
have the
okay.
pizza.
Yeah.
You're here. It's a fun summer day.
Right.
Our house is active. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to be here?
Why wouldn't you want to be here? And that's what you want. You want kids to be
I
here.
do.
Yeah. So that's that limiting belief that you have, that you were holding on to, about the control and the, are people going to like me if I'm this way or that way? So that's all wrapped into that one little thought that he needs to go home and not be here.
And you're just giving me chills as you say it, as we process it, because it resonates,
Yeah.
right? It's like you just feel it in your body where you're like,
Yes.
that's it.
Wow.
That's what it is.
It's always so much more than just the surface of what our thoughts are, because we can have this thought, and as you start doing the work and you go in and you're like, oh my God, it really had nothing to do with that. It's this belief, or it's this thought. It's this specific old wound that was not able to be expressed, be felt, because it was too scary in the moment when you were younger.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I've experienced, is when I
Yeah.
have these other things that pop up in my life and I think it's this, when I start doing the work and really peeling it back and getting to that core, it's always so much different than what I thought was out there. But that's the most beautiful thing about it, is you see it and you're like, what was that bringing up for me? It wasn't that I didn't want him to be here. It was something within me.
I didn't want to look like I didn't have enough.
And you don't like to feel that you don't have enough.
Right.
That's how I feel all the
Right,
time. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't want to feel like I don't have enough. I don't want to feel lacking in food.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing for me.
Yes.
Food's a huge trigger for
Right.
me. So when I'm thinking there's not enough for everybody, I'm thinking that about myself. I'm not going to have enough.
Right.
And that's very scary
Yeah.
to feel. So then how do we treat others around us when we have that feeling? It's just automatically projected, because we don't know how to deal with it, because we have never just let it be, never just let ourselves feel it. And feel that uncomfortable feeling of not feeling like I have enough. That's very scary, especially when you're a kid.
Yeah.
And you weren't able to feel it, so you distract yourself, or something else happens, so that now when we're adults and we're being shown this stuff, it's like, you're allowed to feel it now.
Yeah. You're safe to feel
You're
it.
safe to feel it.
Yeah. And in fact, if you feel it and see it, like, this is just that old feeling coming up that you don't have enough. Is it true?
Yeah.
It's not true.
No.
You have so much. And the kids could care less, whether it's the pizza that you bought at the store, or the watermelon or the ice cream or the grapes. Like they
it's
don't
really
care.
just the experience. They just want to be here.
They
right?
remember how
and
you
they know how
treated them.
Exactly, and they know how it feels when they're here. That's why they all want to come over here, because it feels safe. It feels fun. It feels exactly what you want that environment to be, which is what you said before. We want this house. We wanted this place because we wanted that for the kids.
Yeah.
So.
And all the kids. And then I don't do it with certain kids because I get triggered with lack. And I don't have enough.
Right.
And I didn't expect you.
Right.
And I
and
need
all
to be
they're doing
prepared.
is showing you. You just need
Let
to
that go.
feel it. Just feel it. Let it go.
Let it go, so you can embrace, like you truly envision yourself, just a mother embracing all
of
the
them.
kids.
All of them.
That gives me tears.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're
for helping me
welcome.
process
Yeah,
that,
you never
because
know what's going to come up, right?
Yeah.
It's just, and it's so beautiful when we finally see it, and we're just like, whoa, so much more than just that first initial thought.
But it's so good because the next time, like you say, always say, the next time it comes up, you've processed it so fully that when he comes, because he comes over all the time, people are, like you said, people are here all the time. Kids are here all the time.
Yeah.
And when that comes up, I can say,
You can say, oh,
this
okay,
is
I need to
not
feel
about-
this.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is
Or
just-
I just need to step away or whatever. and maybe go do the worksheet or
Right,
whatever,
exactly.
do the work, and then really ask yourself those questions and then be able to just allow it. Or just see him and just smile, right? And be like, oh, I remember when I thought that.
Yeah.
That was funny,
This is so
right?
not fair to you.
Yeah, right.
This is the not, so unfair. Because he had to feel that coming off me.
You
All
know,
my
he probably
kids
did. And it's interesting because you're saying that, like, I think we all do feel it because it's energy, right? It's all just energy, and how we can't process. We don't really know, but we do feel it.
Yeah.
And then maybe later on we can process it. But yeah, I bet they probably could, especially when you said your son Jackson was like, Mom, he felt it. He didn't know what it was, but he did feel the uncomfortable feeling
like,
about
what's
it.
going
But
on
like, what
here?
is that? Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
So,
Thank you
anyways,
so much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
All right,
that
guys.
was fun.
That's the
All right.
work. It's powerful.
Yeah.
Okay. Have
Bye.
a good one.